What is up, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Garena League of Legends Varsity League 2017 Summer Term, powered by Lenovo, Light the Sky. But of course, before we get into our final match for today, we'll be introducing ourselves as your casters. I'm Arctic, and of course, making an over the backward from the LCL is Crazy Apple.
Hi guys, so yeah, I'm Crazy Apple, and this is my actually debut casting here in Garena.
So, kumusta yung feeling na you get to cast for the LVL kasi you've been working with a lot of our LCL players these past few weeks, tapos ngayon you'll be getting a glimpse of the LVL naman.
Yeah, I feel like really blessed. I'm here right now casting the LVL. I've watched the LCL for so long. I've actually also been a player in the LCL.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, back in spring 2016 for De La Salle University. So like I've come full circle after becoming a competitive player. Right now, I'm here casting the LVL.
So, nonetheless, Crazy Apple, para makita mo yung nangyari these past few weeks, pakita namin sa yung standings just so that we can keep not just you but all our audience up to date sa nangyari. Of course, with the updates right now, we did see earlier AMA University Quezon City taking the lead 2-0 against Oblation Esports, now sitting at the top right now 4-2, pero depende sa mangyayari dito sa game natin with TUP and iAcademy Game Changers. It may come to set that difference. TUP could take the lead, but we'll just have to see. It all depends on what the results are for this final match.
Yeah, and actually I've been really interested to see this matchup because apart from I've been watching the TUP players play when they play here in the office, and they're like really hype. And and usually they don't come in with with their coach, unlike the other teams. But on the other hand, comes here with just real full support from their staff, from their admin, and they have this they have coach. I think his name is Specs.
Right.
He makes all the pick and bans for the whole team, and I can see him when he talks to his players. There's this like from traditional sports, how coaches would, firm, exactly.
But let's go ahead and check out who our players will be fielded out for our respective rosters. Of course, first up is going to be Technological University of the Philippines. In the top lane is their all-star top laner, Astidia. In the jungle, it's going to be Cha. In the mid lane, we have Bam. On AD carry, we have Navi and Miko for support with their coach, Ferdinand Mackenzie Clara. And of course, Crazy Apple, if you do the honors to run down iAcademy.
Yeah, for iAcademy, in the top lane, it will be Soar. For the jungle, it's Hio. For the mid lane, it's Import. For the ADC position, it's Buggy Van. And for support, it's Sinigang. With, I mentioned their coach earlier, it's Les Specs Ronquillo.
You know, man, and as I like to say, every time iAcademy has a game, I see their support. I think Sinigang, I think Ulam. But anyways, we're going to be heading into our pick and ban phase for our game 1 for match 3 of today's round of LBL games. Once again, this is TUP and iAcademy. Sa mga nakamiss dyan sa Teletigers, of course, they don't have a match today, pero huwag kayo mag-alala, makita nyo sila next week.
Yeah, have you actually seen the content that Teletigers has been putting out in their Facebook? Like, I really love the content, especially about their top laner going to the retreat, and it's like angel wings behind them. It's just really good. Man,
oh man, they just keep the memes coming. But then again, shout out to you know who you are, man. Nonetheless, again, let's go ahead and check out the bans right now.
Going into the bans, the TUP have banned so far Galio, Malzahar, and Tristana. While for iAcademy, they've banned Ornn, GP, and Azir, with TUP locking in Alistar for their first pick.
So there you have it, folks. Looks like they are going to be prioritizing that Alistar for Miko. Will make for a devastating composition depending how TUP plays out this draft. Meanwhile, we are waiting for that second rotation of picks coming in from iAcademy. Looks like they will be prioritizing Shen as well as the Ezreal. We have been talking about time and time again as to how powerful and sometimes pretty annoying, at least for the enemy team,
Malzahar. For the first week, if I remember, Import in his 2 games used Malzahar and to great effect. As well as Galio, even though they lost those 2 games, but Galio was really an effective pick for Import. And as well as this Tristana ban for Buggy Ban, he has showed that he's really good on this particular champion. And as well as now he also picked the Ezreal, which he has actually a highlight clip for the LVL.
Oh!
So it's really one of his like really good champions. And we can see here that IAC for their third lock-in, it's the Serath, which is, whoa, where would this be going? It would probably be in the mid lane.
Maybe, just maybe, but then again, we did see UP Diliman use it on support as well.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't have the best time though, unfortunately. Execution was definitely a problem there. If they do send this support, I'm wondering if execution would be on point for the game changers, whether or not they could live up to their name to change the game for TUP. We'll just have to see. Quick review of the second rotation of bans though. Very jungler heavy. Rammus as well as this Johnny going to be taken away from wait a minute. Okay, because the record site was in the second rotation. Okay, and of course for the bans of the Jace and the Kha'Zix from my academy onto both Acedia as well as Char respectively. We did see during the previous week how scary. I still get chills when I think of Acedia on this Jace. Let's go ahead and see though as we head into our second rotation of picks.
Yeah, the second rotation of picks would be the Jarvan for Caesar and the Gnar. Specifically for Acedia, this would be more of a response pick to the Shen. And actually, we're hovering over Yorick at the moment, which would kind of be improbable. Maybe IAC's just trying to mess with us because like they already have the Shen. So where would this Yorick be going?
Unless it's a support Shen. We haven't seen that in quite a while. A little bit of okay.
There.
Bamboozled right there.
We're being bamboozled again by one of the LVL teams. So, yeah, they locked in the Syndra.
So there you have it, folks. Looks like we will indeed be seeing the Serath coming out. It's interesting because from the two teams that have debuted the Serath in the LVL, earlier it was Mayhem from UP Diliman. This time Spec's going to be calling the Serath support for themselves. So I've been talking about how these two coaches are the people to look out for, who I have high expectations of. So hopefully their grasp of the game translates into the players using the champions effectively, because sure, you could have a great game strategy through having the Serath. As Neep mentioned earlier, we have been seeing a lot of this in the international scene, particularly for Korea. But if you can't get the right execution, then man, it's just going to go south way too fast. And that's kind of what happened to UP Diliman earlier. Hopefully that's not the same trend for the game changers, but we'll just have to see at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree about that. And actually in the LCL, in Visayas region, they have also used the Serath bot lane, but they paired it up with the Jhin, which is quite a different combination we've seen now, but it's usually with the ADCs that have a lot of poke potential.
Right.
So the objective of the bot lane here is to keep poking down the enemy bot lane just to get that good advantage.
And with this Ezreal, definitely something that they could achieve. Let's go ahead and see if it will prove fruitful for them as we head into our third matchup, Game 5 for today's broadcast of matches for the LVL. This is once again TUP. That's a pretty long name that they have, Monster Ville Prodigium versus iAcademy's very own Game Changers. Will they change the tide for TUP? Let's go ahead and find out as we head into the Rift.
Yeah, the two teams just saw each other. The TUP was trying to get an invade on the IAC jungle, but IAC saw them and they're just now having standard covers on all the jungle entrances.
So looks like Sinigang running the Battlecast Serath. I actually remember the time before Serath got an update in terms of his visuals. Like Battlecast Serath was really how do I put it? Yung medyo undermined siya kasi parang yung pagkakagawa sa kanya is yung mga nasa 60 to 120 RP range na skin.
Yeah.
Tapos when the Battlecast line actually started becoming prominent, like the Urgot, nagkaroon ng Battlecast Prime for Garena, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and also there's this the Battlecast for Cho'Gath.
Yes, the
500 RP one.
So parang biglang mas naging bigger deal tong Battlecast for Serath from the 60 RP 120 value after the small, I wouldn't, not necessarily visual update rather. So, mas naging maganda siya. Looking pretty good, but still, enough about talking the skins. I dived into that a bit too much there. Pokes definitely working well here for Buggy Van and Sinigang thus far, able to get a substantial amount of damage onto Navi.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting that IAC Buggy Van on Ezreal is running, I think, the Grass of the Undying, which is kind of different take or kind of different keystone because we usually see either Kleptomancy or press the attack. So what I'm thinking here is they're just trying to poke down the enemy bot lane, but at the same time they're just trying to get enough health back just so they could keep poking and they could just keep harassing.
Yeah, I guess it does make sense in a way within the laning phase because Navi running this Caitlyn does have a sizable amount of range as well. So, yeah, I guess, definitely wants to come out on top every single time in terms of the health. Meantime, Hyo gonna make a play, gets the knock up onto Miko. Navi tries to deal a bit of damage there. Looks like Miko will escape to safety, not even needing to expend any of his summoner spells. So I think that's pretty good for TUP overall.
Yeah, that's pretty good for TUP, but at the same time, it's also good for IAC because Miko's right now recalling, which lessens the pressure that they can give in this bot lane, which means the Caitlyn just needs to keep hugging her turret.
Indeed. But then again, I think for iAcademy, this does allow a moment for Navi to solo the experience through the waves pushing in into TUP's bottom lane turret. So it could kind of go both ways, but definitely since iAcademy made that proactive move, they were able to get a lot more health down onto Miko, leaving Navi, looking at it right now, I mean, a bit more vulnerable. Sinigang and Buggy Van in the midst of all the pokes just need to focus on Navi. And yeah, definitely overall, as far as long-term effect, worked for iAcademy in the end.
Yeah, agreed. And right now we can see that because Hyo was going for that early gank, Caesar just keeps on farming. He has like a 10 CS lead now on Hyo, and we just saw Hyo trying to probably get the gank here in the top lane.
We'll just have to see. Meanwhile, things are looking pretty balanced here towards the bottom side. Bam, gutsy enough to extend onto Import, trying to get a hit onto him. Could easily sustain any of the damage that Import throws out in return. Looks like Bam will be pushing out Import under turret, so looking pretty good for mid lane so far.
Yeah, and we can see here that TUP, because of banning the Malzahar and the Galio, Import was forced to pick this Syndra, and we're not really sure how comfortable he is with the Syndra, but there's kind of action in the bottom.
Ooh, stun there, a little bit of a lockdown onto Miko, bit off a little bit more than he could chew. Meanwhile, Navi did get a sizable amount of damage onto Buggy Van though. Grasp will be Undying though, doing its work though. Every time Buggy Van lands a mystic shot, looks like gonna go a full-on aggressive onto Navi. That's a little bit too gutsy though, especially with again coming in from Ja. Looks like Ja will be getting the kill. First blood though does go to Miko. They are trying to pursue Sinigang. They don't want to overextend the boundaries, and they will content themselves with that one kill.
Yeah, that was a really greedy Essence Shift in from the Ezreal from Buggy Van because they did not have vision in their river. So if Caesar on the right timing, just going in there and getting the kill for his team.
A little bit too careless for my liking, but yeah, overall, that was so weird because considering the nature of Buggy Van and Sinigang's bot lane duo, like you mentioned, there's a lot of poke potential to that, but then again, with that poke potential, they kind of did the opposite by going frontline when they could just maintain that safe distance to poke, and maybe they did think that they could secure the kill, but turn things around way too much in the end. Meanwhile, Cha will get isolated here, but it looks like Hyo will find himself in a much more awkward position. Import gonna convert. Looks like Sinigang secures the kill onto Cha. Bam trying to run as fast as he can. Run, he does, and that's gonna be a 1-1 equal.
Yeah, it's an equal trade for both teams. Both junglers going down. Caesar was caught trying to invade the IAC jungle. And actually, I just realized that Hyo is going with the Aftershock Keystone.
Right.
Which is also, well, we could consider that Aftershock would be good because he has that knock-up. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of Rek'Sais going press the attack as well.
But overall, one thing that I did notice though, look at things across the board in terms of CS. TUP above everybody else across the lanes. If there's anyone that does go equal, it's Bomb and Import, but look at the Gnar, 53 to 29, just taking full advantage of the range that Acidia has. And like I mentioned in a previous broadcast, if there's one champion that I do know Acidia is also efficient at... Oh! What? Awkward flash. Was that a flash? Yeah, that...
No, that was a heal.
Oh. Okay, not sure what happened there. That's going to be a double man knock-up onto Sinigang, and Buggy Van will get the... Flux out of there. Meanwhile, Buggy Van and Sinigang trying to poke out Miko and Navi again, but still interesting enough. Sinigang, this is the tricky part right here. It goes 50-50. Sure, you get lots of great poke potential through this Ezreal and Serath, but you also have to take note, it could backfire for the Serath especially. He is a squishier champion. If anything, you could just pretty much ignore Buggy Van and just go straight for Sinigang, and that's kind of what happened earlier because of how squishy Seraph is. Sure, has damage, but that's the price you pay in counterbalance.
Yeah, also it's TUP with picking that Jarvan, who in the early game packs a lot of damage, would probably just keep on diving the IAC bot lane and just keep killing both of them. And especially, as you said, the Serath is really fragile and he's also very immobile. So when you burn that flash, he won't have anything else to escape from. from certain death.
We'll see again at the end of the day. Like, if is it gonna end kind of like what UP Diluman encountered earlier, wherein it just became a detriment more than an asset? We'll just have to see. Meanwhile, Asidia considering to assert his dominance towards this top lane. Great proc there coming in from Swar to avoid that last stack from connecting from Asidia. I like how he's methodically trying to do the best he can to withstand as much damage. You know, not allowing Asidia that opportunity to get full 3 stacks coming in from his W. So, yeah, I'd say Swar, even with the CS disadvantage, he's holding his own.
Yeah, and I actually remember something Chisto said. If any one of you don't really know who Chisto is, he casts a lot of the NCR games, and he just casted some of the GPL All-Star games. He would always tell me that never blind pick the Shen. Because in this current meta, Shen has so many counters. Yes, IAC did ban the Jace earlier, but leaving the Snar open is also a really good matchup for Shen. And as you said, Asidia is also really proficient on this champion.
And hopefully this isn't something that really plagues iAcademy in the long term, because CS difference are growing way too intense for Asidia and Navi for both top lane and bot lane respectively. Hopefully it doesn't translate into a bigger deficiency. Again, this is where you have to look into what proactive moves these teams are making within the earlier phase and how it eventually impacts the later parts. So, meanwhile though, looks like... Oh, okay, I see what's happening here for Miko. I think it's the change to the rune wherein you get that blink. Meanwhile though, Sinigang and Buggy Van again getting the 2-man knockup from Miko. But yeah, as I was saying, I think it's that
Unsealed Spellbook?
Is it that rune wherein when flashes down you have that other...
Oh no, it's the one with the Hex Flash.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
I forgot the name of that rune, but I remember that the skill name is Hex Flash.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering if that was a bug, and like, oh yeah, like that. I forgot about that. But still, things are looking very good for this bot lane. Actually, if you're gonna look at it cumulatively, Miko has that item which eventually leads to Face of the Mountain or the other item that's built into combination with Sightstone. And technically, if you're going to put that into account, the only that Navi and Miko has... Oh, I'll have to hold off right there. Looks like Import going to get collapsed onto Chow. Looks like he does kind of regret it, though. Stand United comes from Swar, easily turning this into a 3-on-2 and turns things around for iAcademy.
That was really good positioning from here right there, going in for the counter gank, and TUP exactly not respecting the Shen with the ultimate, and it just goes there and gets a kill on Caesar.
But yeah, the point I was making earlier was that you have to take into account that Miko, every time he procs his Spoils of War, that's additional gold for Navi. So it's not just technically 98. It's kind of the 99 plus probably around 12 to 14 of the CS that Miko has. Yeah. So the lead is actually bigger than one may think for Navi and Miko versus Buggy Van and Sinigang here. As far as the laning phase, I don't think Buggy Van and Sinigang were able to take advantage of that poke potential that they have. But then again, it could be just in the sense that Navi matches him in terms of the range that he has himself. So yeah, again, like I mentioned, it goes both ways with Buggy Van and Sinigang running an Ezreal Serac. But from the results that we're seeing thus far, I think it's been a little bit more of a detriment than an asset.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we've been mentioning that it would be really hard if they were ganked, and they were ganked early on. So that's what might have caused the snowball in favor of TUP, and especially Navi. And Miko with his really good engage, because he's on Alistar, and he's also really tanky in itself. It proved really hard for Buggy Van and for Sinigang to poke out the TUP bot lane.
Man, this is looking pretty good for TUP though. Looks like Sha will be going for this Infernal Drake. That's gonna be, as Freak would say, tons of damage. It's technically not Trinity though, but still, that's gonna be quite a bit of damage that TUP will have up their belt. With basic here, it looks like it will go uncontested. Yo, a little bit too late to realize that it was indeed a take, so good start here. TUP exerting dominance across the board, not just in CS, even potentially in terms of objectives. Look at the turrets right now, quite low across the board, both in top lane as well as bot lane. I'm not sure if the same goes for mid lane as well, but I'd say TUP has better control over this game than iAcademy within these first few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it would really bode poorly for IAC, because TUP has a really strong late game composition with the Vladimir, and Nar can deal so much damage still in the late game. With Caitlyn as well with her range, IAC would have a really hard time if they don't do something right now to get to get this game into their favor.
Jordan Seal, 3-man collapse onto this turret. iAcademy might want to force a fight here just so that they could save this turret. Yo, closing on to the front line. Looks like they will clear out that wave, but that tower is bound to go down within these next minutes. Not just for bot lane, but for top lane as well. If there's one consolation for iAcademy, though, is that they do have that advantage of turning let's say, what might seem like an equal 3v3 to a sudden 3v4 because of the presence of Stan United, but it's really up to Soar here because he has his own thing that he has to deal with right now. Asidia just so aggressive, and it's tricky because this tower is about to go down. It's only going to cause more problems for Soar and limits his potential with the Stan United.
Yeah, and it will just balloon the current gold lead that TUP has right now. They just got the turret, which ballooned the... Oh, and Asidia is going in for an all-in.
Oh no, looks like Soar taking a bit of damage there. Gets shoved into the wall, and Asidia takes him down in style. The beast is mad.
Yeah, and it just keeps on extending the gold lead for TUP with around, I think, a 3k gold lead right now.
That is not the best position we want to be in. Sure, it kind of seems like things are going slow, but TUP just taking things methodically away from iAcademy and head into this mid game. Unless iAcademy does something proactive to get back on equal ground with TUP, they're going to continually force into positions wherein every time they make a proactive play, they suddenly sacrifice something. And I think that's why it's a double-edged sword, this draft of iAcademy. The chance for Stan United, sure, you can get a response into other lanes, but at the same time, Swar doesn't want to leave Asidia, wants to keep him in check constantly wherever Asidia is pushing out, because every time Swar responds, it just leaves Asidia to do other things wherever he wants to. And the same goes with the Serath pick. The Serath pick, like we mentioned, great poke potential, but when left, if you leave TUP to collapse onto them, by taking advantage of their squishiness, then that's another problem. So things are working really well for TUP, and overall they're dictating the flow of the game. If anything, iAcademy might be forced into a more responsive position, which hopefully doesn't lead them into points wherein they start sacrificing a lot more than they think they are.
Yeah, and the good thing about for iAcademy right here is that they have a lot of damage.
Right.
And the Syndra, the Ezreal, and there's a fighting top lane.
Indeed, it's going to be a taunt for Asidia. Meanwhile, Theo tries to go for Asidia, but still, Asidia just tanking it like a champ, even in mini R form. Cataclysm for the kill onto Theo. Meanwhile, Sinigang going to try to go for the spawn. Stun doesn't quite connect onto Miko there, and TUP will be able to walk away to safety.
Yeah, so going back to my point earlier, IAC has a lot of poke, has a lot of damage. So if TUP would ever decide to try to get a Rift Herald or probably a Baron in the next few minutes, if IAC would be in the perfect position, they could keep poking down TUP and might get a good fight from that.
I think ultimately it comes down to execution for iAcademy. Like I mentioned, this is a composition that sure might be tricky to pull off, but I'll have to hold off right there. Sinigang get caught out between Sha as well as Miko, but still looks like Retaliation is coming in from Import, is able to take down Miko in exchange. But then again, still, this is what I'm talking about right here. Sinigang suffering his first death, but I gotta give my commendations to Sinigang though. He's not falling too behind on this area. Looks like we have another prolonged fight happening here. iAcademy goes for the active move. Asidia taking down Import. Looks like they might go for Hyo. Bam just takes him down in fashion, but no, it's actually Asidia that manages to secure it, and Asidia, literally a beast right now.
Yeah, Asidia getting a double kill, and TUP just blowing this game wide open. They have perfect control of the vision in the red side jungle of IAC, and they just keep on capitalizing on that vision right now. And they might get this top lane as another prize for their really good vision control.
This is just so unfortunate for iAcademy at this point. And I think because personally for me, I'm all about innovation. I'm all about creativity with picks, pushing the boundaries, but then again, if you can't really translate it into, I mean, there's the surprise factor, but the surprise is on you if you can't really pull it up. And I think that's what's happening for iAcademy overall. And I have without a doubt though, if they could find their bearings within the next few minutes, they could potentially try to get back on equal ground with TUP. But TUP, as far as how they've been playing their tempo, it's been on point across the board throughout the past few minutes. They've been dictating the flow, and this is just scary. If the gold lead continues to build up, then I'd say this is a good game for TUP.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also, I think IAC came here with a plan, and their plan was get the bot lane rolling. We could see that with Hyo with an early gank in the bot lane. Sadly, it didn't produce anything other than just Miko going back to base. But they also tried other proactive plays across the map in the early game. It's just that when Caesar got that really good gank in the bot lane, it turned everything around for IAC, and they had to play passively because they needed to recoup their losses.
I will give them one thing though. If there's someone that could be potentially a saving grace, Import has been performing well on this Syndra. But then again, if the entire team couldn't keep up with that, then it's just going to be a missed out opportunity. Meanwhile, though, looks like Sinigang tries to get a hit onto Navi. Not quite enough damage right there, even if he gets all 6 tonight, I think. But looks like Acedia just going at it onto Buggy Van. Wow, Sinigang going to try to go for the response, but still Acedia is dealing too much damage for him to deal with. And that is the problem right there.
Oh man, Acedia going full on monster mode right there. Apart from the Meganar, he just keeps on solo killing anyone who goes to his lane, and because of this, TUP just keeps getting the advantages across the map.
Oh man, and like you mentioned, a blind pick onto the Shen. I think iAcademy's really paying the price. I mean, the good thing here though is that iAcademy didn't suffer as many. I think it could have gone way worse because they've been holding their ground. If anything, if things went south way too fast, it probably could have even played towards a 15 to 18 kill lead for TUP. But then again, still, regardless of all the ground that they've been trying to control, looks like still we have a fight here, though. Miko gets collapsed on quite heavily, though. A lot of ammo being thrown out there by iAcademy to take down the Alistar. Shaw goes in for the Cataclysm onto Buggy Van, though. Gets isolated from the rest of iAcademy. He can't run it out. Is taken down. That's 3 members of iAcademy that are down. TUP styling themselves onto an inhibitor. I'm not sure if they could go for a finish, but those are still heavy death timers. Still, there's a lot of objectives that could be taken from TUP here. They make a transition towards mid lane. Rift Herald still pushing out, looking really good for them. Inhibitor goes down. It looks like they're going to be going for yet another inhibitor as well. So much pressure that iAcademy has to deal with. And TUP gonna back away for the meantime. Mission accomplished.
I love how Miko plays a lot of these fights. He would try to initiate these fights and get a great initiate for his team, get a lot of kills, and also get objectives. I would if I was Miko at that point, I would just all chat #worth.
Yep, definitely worth. I think the beautiful thing about what TUP does there, sure, Miko fell first twice in the bigger clashes, but it's I wouldn't even say worth. It's super worth because not only does Miko play to a scenario wherein he takes a lot of the boot from iAcademy, but because iAcademy, because they're so focused on what's available to them, exhausts a lot of their ammos at the initial start of the fight, that when it comes to the full collapse from TUP, that's where iAcademy starts running out of tools to work with. And I don't know, man. It's just so hard at this point. 11,000 of a gold deficit. I don't think there's any way iAcademy could come back at this point.
Yeah.
Unless there's a huge slip up from TUP.
Yeah, if there's still the Baron, so probably if TUP would make a mistake in the Baron pit. Yeah, but adding to your point, TUP has like 3-4 tanks in the Vladimir and also the Jarvan and the Gnar. But Jarvan, Gnar, and Vladimir at this point in the game deal so much damage, and Acedia is going for a pick.
Oh man. Tank, man, I don't know. Looks more like a carry from what I'm seeing here. Acedia. I mean, look at the itemization, though. Frozen Mallet, Black Cleaver. It's movement speed for Acedia through the Black Cleaver. He gets the slow through the Frozen Mallet. The best of both worlds. Still, though, looks like TUP wants to take down the last inhibitor from iAcademy to shut down their hopes of taking a game 1.
And whenever I see that build from a Gnar, first thing would pop in mind, split pushing. And that's what Acedia keeps doing. And as TUP right now, showing how strong they are, Acedia just 1v5ing everyone.
So look at that, Acedia still managing to take down Buggy Van before taking him down. But then again, a sacrifice that does lead to an inhibitor tower as well as an inhibitor. And this could potentially be iAcademy's last stand, although TUP has the option to go back and go for Baron for the meantime while waiting for Acedia to come back. So a lot of options available to TUP, iAcademy less so.
Yeah, and iAcademy right now, I think they just need to lick their wounds and think about the next game.
Yep.
How are they gonna adjust? They tried this really kind of cheesy bot lane with the Ezreal and the Serrat. Maybe if they try again the Serrat, I don't think that the Serrat was a problem in their bot lane. Probably it's just more on execution. Right. And TUP right now trying getting this Baron.
Yep, they're just taking it down. It looks like may try to contest this. As you mentioned, this Baron could spell the comeback for iAcademy. There's definitely a lot of pressure. It goes in a little bit too early, though. TUP just focuses on it. Navi takes him down. That is going to be the Baron take for Technological University of the Philippines, and this could be game within the next minute or so.
Yeah, wow, TUP's discipline right there. Knowing that Hio might go for that steal, they just stopped hitting the Baron at like 1.6k health. And when they waited for Hio to go in, they just immediately deleted him, even with the Shen, with the Shen ultimate on top of him.
Oh man, this is just so hard for iAcademy. You know, I've been so critical of this draft within the past minutes, but then again, you just have to tell it as it is, because if anything, TUP just dictated the flow of this game within probably the 5 to 6 minute mark. They knew what they needed to do, and I think it's not even just realizing the overall macro, just the micro in itself, because of how Asigia just dominated on the Snar within the full 23 minutes of this game. It's been such a joy to watch. But then again, for iAcademy, I really hope that they find their bearings in the next game. Looks like we'll be seeing the last stand, though, between iAcademy and TUP. Cha goes for the aggressive onto Import. Import does try to go for Navi, but no is taken down. Not even enough to get that full burst onto Navi, and that will be game. Congratulations to TUP, taking Game 1 for Match 3 of today's LVL broadcast.
Yeah, congratulations to TUP with a very decisive, and for the first part of this game, for about like 14 minutes, it was like really, really passive.
Right.
But when TUP decided that, oh, we have the advantage, we can just keep on clicking and clicking and clicking and just keep on running down, essentially, the game changers.
But, man, oh man. Again, like I've mentioned, my biggest hope for iAcademy is that they probably stick to something that's much more, how do I put it? Much more, I wouldn't say safer, but more something that is, I think it's just going back to the basics, basically. They
Probably like going back to standard picks.
Yeah, because I think it's tricky, because I kind of see what they're going for, because it's been expressed across the board that a lot of the teams consider TUP as the top contender to potentially win LVL, and when you come to a position wherein you can't necessarily go head-to-head, you look at, I mean, macro for macro, or micro for micro, or just by the meta, it might be trickier, so you want to try to look at other angles where you could potentially take down TUP, and one of them is the surprise element. But I think it's just that because execution wasn't right there, things just didn't work out in the end, man.
Yeah, if we're looking back at the IAC comp, they were looking for more of a pick comp, essentially with the Syndra and the Seraph, with really good long-range kill shot stuns. But they just couldn't go towards that point, because TUP just kept pressuring their jungle, putting a lot of vision control, and just kept controlling the tempo from like 14 or 13 minutes onwards.
So we'll just have to see, will iAcademy Game Changers turn the tide of battle to force it into a 1-1, or will TUP make their dominance known by continuously taking first seed here in the LVL? We'll just have to find out in just a bit. Of course, for the meantime, we'll be taking a quick break. We have been your casters. I'm Mark, Get the Service Man. With me making his debut on a Garena stream is Crazy Apple. This is the Garena LOL Varsity League 2017 Summer Term, powered by Lenovo. Light the Sky. We'll be right back, so stay tuned, fam.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.